What is up, everybody? Mikey Panzernator here with Dapeeks. We are learning how to play Hearts of Iron 4. So hopefully that first episode was helpful for you. There's a lot to go through, but it'll make more sense in this episode as we begin addressing things as they come up. So if you look at if you look underneath kind of these icons, like where it says free civilian factories, free military factories, no national focus set, right? So like kind of
Okay.
Yeah. So these notifications, this is where your notifications show up. And basically how you go through the game, and all these tabs and all these pages we went in over the last episode of the guide, you don't have to be searching through those all game to realize what you need to do. Sometimes you want to check on some, but if something's urgently important, like you have civilian factories not being used, an icon will show up here. So let's just address them one by one. Free civilian factories. So click on that. It opens up the construction window from last episode, remember?
Yeah.
And so now this allows us to build all the different things. So infrastructure, what it does, the little railroads. I'm just gonna go left to right and work our way down, right?
Okay.
Infrastructure basically is necessary for supply. The more infrastructure in an area, the more supply it can handle. So that means the more troops you can have supplied there. Also, the more infrastructure in a state, the faster it builds stuff, and the more resources it extracts. So I'm gonna click on look at Thuringen or whatever, kind of just south of Brandenburg.
Oh.
So I clicked on it, right? You see how next to the steel it says 21 plus 1 in yellow, right?
I see 6. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that means if we were to build this infrastructure, this state would produce one more steel.
Oh, okay.
So if you're into buying for resources, you can get more out of it. Now, the exception is with synthetic refineries. Building more roads isn't going to make the refinery chug out more oil, right?
This game is really realistic.
Yeah. So basically, infrastructure, you don't necessarily have to build it. It's more of a reactionary measure, although, if you want to do the math, it might be more efficient to build the infrastructure than the factories, but usually I just build the factories. The next one, the little wind flap with the plane, air bases. Self-explanatory. Right. How big is the airport in that state, right?
Yeah.
So we click on it, you notice it'll show, like in Brandenburg, 6 out of 10, whereas in Hanover, it's 0 out of 10, right? So that means Brandenburg has a level 6 airbase. If we click on it, it'll get up to 7. We can keep clicking, and once it's blue, it's max level. Or we can shift click. You can shift click to max it out, or you can shift left click to remove it all from the production queue, right? So that's just kind
shift right click?
So if you click on it, if you click on a state, it'll add 1 to the production queue, right?
Yeah.
If you right click, it'll remove it. And if you shift, it'll either go all the way up, it'll either add max or remove max. And that goes for everything too. That's for how you build everything. Each level of airbase can adequately handle 200 airplanes.
Okay.
So a level 1 airbase can handle 200, a level 10 can handle 2,000. Basically, if you need to build more air bases, you can, but usually in Europe you're good with what you have. Anti-air. Basically, anti-air is kind of weird. What it does is it disrupts bombers and reduces bomb damage to stuff in that state. One of the problems with anti-air in this game is it doesn't scale. You can't research stuff to make it better at the current state of the game. They talked about maybe changing that in future updates, but it's only very situational. Most of the time, you're better off building military factories to produce fighters.
Okay.
And just having air superiority. Now, the one that's grayed out is radar station.
Yeah.
Basically, the more radar stations you build, the wider range the radar coverage is, and that allows you to. So, say we were to build a radar station in right next to Alsace, if we built enough radar stations, we could see more information about the French troops, and our planes would get bonuses. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of like state buildings. Shared buildings. So if we click on, so the green one is military factories. And if you click on that, notice you'll see an infrastructure and a plus percentage, right?
Shit. Okay.
So you see how Brandenburg, it says plus 80%? And 9 out of 12. And then right to the east and Ostmark, it's only plus 60%, right?
Okay.
That basically tells you how that's basically the buff to building, right? So if we clicked, so I'm going to click on Brandenburg and I'm going to click on Ostmark. If you mouse, so okay, you see in the production screen now it says 15 out of 15 and there's a little bar underneath it, right? If you mouse over the bar in Brandenburg, the military factory will require 7,200 production and it'll be finished on the 5th, 17th of February. Whereas in Ostmark, wait, where does it show this? Basically, the higher the percentage, the cheaper it is to build, right?
Sure.
So, okay, so and all the ones in this tab work the similar way, same type of production mechanism. Only difference is you can only have 3 synthetic refineries in the state, no matter how many factory slots you have.
Okay.
And obviously, naval dockyards have to be on the coast.
Okay.
You can't build the Bismarck down the Rhine River and just sail it all the way up to the ocean.
Damn.
Rocket sites are later on. They produce rockets. It also gives you a launch pad. Nuclear reactors, basically you can only build one in a state, and they build atomic bombs. The more nuclear reactors you have, the faster you produce warheads. So military factories produce military equipment. Civilian factories build other stuff. Dockyards produce ships. Synthetic refineries give you oil and rubber. Rockets build and let you launch rockets. Nuclear reactors build atomic warheads.
Sounds great.
So then the final one is province build, or the next one is province buildings. So the anchors, naval bases. These are your ports. You don't need one in every. You don't need that many. The higher level port. So like how you see some 8 of 10s, 1 of 10, 6 of 10, that sort of thing. The higher the level of the port, the more throughput of resources it can have, and also the bigger fleet it can house there, right?
Okay.
So you can if you have an oversized, if you have more fleet, like if your fleet's bigger than the port it can handle, it reduces your ship repair speed. So
Okay.
So basically, usually what I do is I get some up to level 10 where I house my main fleets, but usually leave it there. So then the little bunker, that's land forts. Basically, these make it more defensible, and they give you a bonus to, they give the attackers a attack penalty. And one thing about land forts is they cost more the more you build. So if you build one land, so if you mouse over, it says it costs 500 plus 500 per existing level. So if you want to get a province up to land fort 1, it costs 500. If you want to get 2, it's 500, then 1,000, then 500, 1,000, 1,500, and so on. And so
what's our currency in this situation?
Basically, I don't know. It's civilian factory. It's basically each civilian factory produces so much production, whatever.
Okay.
There's no real. You don't really need to worry about the units. Just research stuff that gives buffs and that sort of thing. And then finally, the bunker with the waves is coastal forts. These are basically land forts that help against naval landings.
Yeah.
So like D-Day. And then the final button. What's that?
I said yeah.
Okay. So then the final button is military factory to civilian factory conversion. If you're in a bind, you can switch civilian factories to military factories or vice versa. I never do this. Unless you're like desperately running out of slots. First of all, there's a decision that's emergency factory conversion where you can do this for political power, which is much, much better than spending resources on it. And also, it's more effective to just build more factories if you have open slots, which you almost always will, than it is to switch stuff over. So I've never used that except like late game when I just don't have anything to do.
Okay.
So what do we have? So we don't have anything constructing right now. So what do you want to build? You want to build civilian factories, military factories? You want some advice on this?
Yeah, let's consult the expert.
So you notice how? So remember how we had to trade for oil and rubber?
Synthetic oil.
So click on synthetic oil, synthetic refineries.
Where am I going to build this?
Pick one of the 80%. So Brandenburg or Rhineland or somewhere, and just shift click in a couple, in like the shift click in Brandenburg and Rhineland.
Oh, wait a second.
So select synthetic refinery, and then hold down shift
Yeah.
and click. So do like that.
Okay.
There you go. So you see it's +3. You can only build 3, even if there's going to be more slots.
Yeah.
It's only coincidental that this would max out our factories in Brandenburg. So there we go. So and you want to build stuff. So like so let's build 3 synthetic there and 3 there. So you see how in Rhineland it only says 13 out of 15.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure you have something producing. So that means basically only 15 civilian factories can work on a project at once. And you basically want all your civilian factories working. So if we wanted to, we could queue up all kinds of stuff after this, and it'll just go through the list. But for now, we'll just, handle this as it comes to it and reassess the situation one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
why would we want a synthetic factory in Rhineland, though?
Because it's 80%. Because it'll build faster.
Yes. Okay. I don't know. Strategically, is that good?
We're not gonna lose to the Low Countries.
Good point.
So, so you notice how the Rhineland and Mosland is outlined by this like flashing red thing?
Yeah.
That's a demilitarized zone. We're gonna deal with that.
That's a joke, is what that is.
Yeah, that's like the first national focus. Okay, so the next one is free military factories, right?
Yeah.
So what this one, and this is also where you assign dockyards. This is basically where you choose to build equipment. If you have a line, you don't need to build multiple lines. So like I don't have to build multiple, like how I have right now, multiple infantry equipment. You could just either click, you can either go in the box and click, and it'll add factories. If it needs more, it'll be grayed out or whatever. Or you can use these like these pluses and minuses, right? And you can change them 10 or less or whatever.
Yeah.
So right now, usually let's build some more artillery and support equipment. So either highlight the boxes to where you build 5. So let's assign, so where it has 5 assigned to support equipment and 5 assigned to artillery. So you can either click on the plus to add them, or you can like mouse over the box and click on it. It'll like show like highlights of where you're gonna add factories.
How do I make it build artillery?
Okay, so you see in the production screen the towed artillery. It's the third one down. You don't tell it to make it. You assign factories to a production line.
In the production screen.
So click on.
Yeah.
So click. Okay.
That thing.
Yeah. So if you click on the icon with the green factory with the check mark, that's where you choose to do this.
Oh, okay.
So you can either mouse over the box and click, or you can use the pluses and minuses.
Okay.
So again, I like to use a lot of support equipment and towed artillery. So just assign factories wherever you think we need them. We're gonna need everything, but what do you want to produce first? Again, I recommend support equipment and artillery because I'm always.
Is U-boats a bad idea?
What's that?
Are U-boats a bad idea?
We'll talk. We can talk about that later.
Okay.
Well, I'll do a more in-depth naval screen.
Okay.
But we need to assign our military factories.
Okay. Let's build some support equipment. You said.
I'd say get support equipment to 5 and artillery to 5.
Oh, what the hell?
So you just added another line. You don't need to do that. You can go into the existing screen and add it. So you see in the support equipment, so you see where it shows support equipment, there's currently 2 factories, and there's like a little plus minus with the 2 in the middle.
I don't see the plus or minus. I guess I'm not in like the right screen.
Go to the production screen. The hotkey is Y.
Okay, yes, I'm on the production screen.
So you see how it has the list. So it has Car 98, support equipment, 10.5 centimeter, Panzer 2.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I see.
That's where you this is where you assign the factories, down here. Up top is where you add new lines. And they have a bunch of buttons where you can filter which ones you want to see. Although usually you can just leave them all and you can scroll, right? There you go.
So support equipment to 5.
Okay.
And artillery to 5. All right. Now I'm getting the hang of this.
So we need some more. Okay, so here's something I want to show you. So notice how Panzer IIs are above the Opel Blitz, right? That means new factories. So say we wanted to max out Panzer II and Opel Blitz. As we build new factories, they'd go to Panzer IIs and then the Opel Blitz, right? It'll build those it'll assign those factories first, and also it'll prioritize the resources to whatever's higher up.
Okay.
Now we can change this by several different ways. If you click and you can drag and drop them wherever. So I'm going to drag Opel Blitz above Panzer II and drop it and leave it there. So I'm going to move it back. So if you click on the name and drag it, you can change its priority in the order.
Okay.
So drag Opel Blitz above Panzer II and give it a factory. And
okay, damn it. My mouse, I'm unplugging the damn mouse. All right.
Okay. So we've assigned all our military factories. Next, click on it's the question mark with kind of the olive leaves around it and the exclamation mark, national focus. Click on that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is a lot to take in, so we're going to take it slow. Okay?
Grossraumwirtschaft.
So what these do is these are how you choose your country's direction. So if you click and drag the screen, you can see there's more of them, right?
Oh my god.
So so you'll see Rhineland and then a line and then oppose Hitler. And in between there's an arrow where there's a red exclamation point with 2 green arrows. That means they're mutually exclusive. So we can't remilitarize the Rhineland and at the same time decide Hitler sucks. Right?
So, okay.
We can't, befriend China and Japan when they're fighting each other. Right?
Yes.
So basically what these do are these decide which direction we take our country. And you kind of follow them down. So like go to Rhineland, right? Look at Rhineland.
Rhineland.
So if you follow the line down, Rhineland and Schultz, if you go down and to the right, and then demand Sudetenland, Vienna.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So these are where we pick our decisions. These give us war goals, bonuses. This is what makes the game fun. This is what separates Germany from Finland. Some nations have their own national focus tree, some don't. So, you want to remilitarize the Rhineland?
Yeah, that's probably a good play.
So just like technologies, click it and hit enter. Click on Rhineland and hit enter.
Start. Okay.
There we go. So if you mouse over, it'll say completion time 70 days, 69 left. So that way, we'll devote one of our political power every day to remilitarizing the Rhineland.
Well, where do you see that bit?
If you're in the national focus screen, which you can get back by opening the political screen, so clicking on the flag and then clicking on Rhineland, you can either mouse over the icon that's kind of shining now that's selected, or just in the political screen you can mouse over the little rectangle where it says Rhineland. It tells you the progress, and if you're ever unsure, it tells you the effects. So by doing the Rhineland, we'll get 120 political power. So think about we're spending 70 and getting 120, while at the same time remilitarizing the Rhineland, getting army experience, increasing world tension, which isn't good. And if France wants to, they can declare war on us right then.
Doubt.
I rarely see it happen. And so an important note, when we started the game, we had an option for historical AI focuses to be either on or off. If historical AI focuses are on, the AIs will pick the historical focuses in the historical order they did in real life.
Okay, so we obviously put that on.
We put that on because that makes it easier. The game's more predictable. France isn't going to go communist. Austria-Hungary is not going to show up. It's going to be historical. Poland's going to join the Allies. It's better for beginners because you know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
We all should have watched World War II in color on Netflix. We've all read a
great series. Highly recommend it. Fantastic. Just absolutely incredible.
I only brought it up because Dapeeks and I
say enough.
We're both watching it right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I gotta go on my side real quick. As someone who loves the history of World War II, it has been just incredible to see it colorized, because I've always tended to think of it as sort of black and white, because that's all the images that are presented to you. Learning about it. So see it in color adds a whole nother level to it. But anyways, Netflix, please sponsor this guy, by the way.
World War II in color, I'd love to do an interview. Okay, so the next icon, it's the green men saluting with the red exclamation point, right? No divisions of basic training. Basically what that's telling us, or either we're going to get one of two icons. We're going to get this one, we're going to get no icon, or we're going to get low manpower. So because we have extra manpower, we can choose to train more divisions.
Okay. Infantry, panzer.
You can choose whichever one. I'll go into army composition in the next video so we're going to want to take notice of what we have. So for right now, just click train infantry. So I'm going to click train infantry. Okay, so you can go ahead and do it. So click on the train button. Okay, so you see no location set. Click on that, and you can select the state where they'll deploy. No, Ostpreußen is red because we don't have a contiguous border, and the Rhineland is red because it is currently demilitarized.
Okay, so let's go put them right up next to it.
I know I like to put them in. I like to put them in the capital, but you can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay, you fix it.
All right, so Brandenburg. Okay, so add unit, right? So we can tell it to train multiple at one time, right? So you see what I'm doing? And if you shift click, it adds 5, which is just an easier way to do it. You can expand or collapse it, so you can see the progress of each division. You can choose the name of the division, which is something I never do. In the division designer, you can choose like a naming scheme, which we can do later. So for right now, let's just build 6 infantry, put them on the button with the infinity sign, that thing. You can choose whether you want to, go through that system how many times. Infinity will just keep doing it over and over, right?
Okay.
The X, the little X, you see it. Okay, so backstepping. You remember in last episode we set the equipment priority for reinforcements upgrades to high. We changed the yellow button to the green button.
Yeah.
We notice we have the same thing for our divisions, right? So if we really want to get some divisions out, we can change that to green, and it'll funnel equipment to that first. Whereas if we're just having like some dinky garrison or some cavalry to suppress resistance, we can put that on low priority, and they'll get all the crappy leftovers because they're not fighting, right? So we can do that, depending on whether or not we want these divisions to train quickly or not. We'll just leave it like this. Okay. So now the red guy's saluting, right? Unassigned
Red
divisions.
guy salute.
Unassigned divisions.
All right.
If you click on that, it'll select your divisions.
It just showed me a political screen.
What's that?
Let me try it again. Okay, there we go.
Okay, if you click it, it'll select a division. If you shift click, it'll select them all. We'll deal with this in the next episode, where we'll talk about Army and Navy, what to do when you first start the game. So basically all this icon does is let you know you have divisions that are not assigned to an army, which is helpful if you train new divisions, or if you get divisions from an event or something. They're not just going to sit in where they spawned the entirety of the war and not help out. Very useful.
Okay.
And then lastly, insufficient resources. We already dealt with this whenever we chose our trade laws. It doesn't go away until you unpause, though.
Okay.
And basically, what you do is, as the game goes on, more and more icons will show up. So whenever our civilian factories are done, that civilian one will show up again. Whenever we build more military factories and dockyards than we have assigned, those will show up. Whenever we run low on manpower or whatever, this is where we'll get notifications. And as the game goes on, you just kind of address them one by one, or you ignore them if you realize, like, yeah, we don't have enough resources, nothing I can do about right now. I'm trying to take Stalingrad, leave me alone. You can do that. Now, if you don't want them to bother you, you can right click them. So I'm hiding them right now. I right click both of them, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you want them back, go to the globe in the top right, and to the bottom and to the right of it, there's an exclamation point. It says dismissed alerts. If you mouse over it, it'll tell you what alerts you've dismissed. And if you click on it, it'll bring them back up.
Okay.
So basically, you use these alerts to manage the game, and I think that's good for this episode. So any questions about what we did?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, so basically, for the folks back home, you address these notifications one by one, and whenever important events come up, you'll see them here, and as we play the game, we'll see more of the different ones that you need to pay attention to. But for now, we're just, we're dealing with what happens before you unpause, which I promise you we will unpause the game at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
At some point. You'll notice...
At some point the game will be played.
You'll notice if you watch my Let's Plays, usually episode 1 is completely unpaused. Episode 2 or 3 even will start at noon on January 1st of 1936.
There you go.
Because, once you get used to it, you can run through these more quickly and all that. But next episode, we're going to talk about what to do with our starting Army, Navy, and Air Force. So, hope to...
Fantastic.
Hope, you want to fight. The whole point of this game is World War II, right?
Yeah.
You do want to fight eventually. So anyways, if you have any questions about what we went over in this episode, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try and answer it as quickly and as accurately as possible. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. Consider subscribing to the channel. Follow me on Twitter and check out my Patreon page.
Don't even consider subscribing. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Really. Help this guy out.
This is why I love having this guy. Anyways, thanks for watching. Until the next one, this is Mikey Dare Panzernator signing out. See ya, nerds.